Hi, I'm Peter Ames Carlin, author of the audiobook Bruce, which is read by Bobby Cannavale. The death of Clarence Clemens came in the middle of 2011, when I had already started talking in depth and visiting, the people in the band and producers and the insiders in that world. And just fortunately, luckily, I'd set up 2 days to talk to Clarence in Florida at his house, and we had done that in early March and spoke for quite a bit of time, over 2 days. And he was, he was the big man. I mean, he was hobbled by his recent knee surgeries and was trying to get back in shape for the tour and determined to be back in shape for the tour. And, but he was doing a lot of physical therapy. But the fire burned bright in his eyes, and he was full of fun, and he was hysterically funny, and a great storyteller, and deeply emotional about his life and about his experience with Bruce over the years, and the depth of feeling that he had for Bruce, and the passion for the work that they'd done together, and for the live, their relationship was, to me, overwhelming and very moving, and it was so terribly tragic that 2-3 months later he passed away so abruptly, and I knew that obviously everybody was crushed, and it was a terrible summer for Bruce, and it was in that way and other ways it was a terrible summer for John Landau and for everybody in their circle, because when you lose somebody that significant, as Bruce said, it was like losing the rain. It was elemental to his life, and he had to pick himself up off the ground and really, create a new life. As he said, now we're heading toward the next stand of trees. They'd been on this journey for a long time, and now they had to, one of their key members had left, or been taken away, I suppose. But you go on, you can't stop, or Bruce can't stop. And so the question was, how do you both honor Clarence's achievements and his significance, and yet still move on? And strangely, perfectly, Jake Clemens, who was Clarence's nephew, had been inspired to take up the saxophone when he saw his first Springsteen show in 1988 on the Tunnel of Love tour. And from that point, he just said, he was in awe of his uncle. And he said, that's the job I want. And, he wanted to be a musician. He wanted to play on stages and have some fraction of the incredible gravity of Clarence Clemens's presence. And, amazingly, tragically and maybe more bittersweet, there was a moment when they were thinking, like, who are we going to get to fill Clarence's shoes, or at least bring their own shoes? And eyes began to turn, or I think, Bruce was aware that Jake played sax, and I think at that point, he probably got to know him better and listened to him play a lot, and, phenomenally, the guy sounds a lot like, his uncle. He's got his own style, obviously. He's his own man. He has his own kind of charisma. But it's, which is the beautiful thing. He's not up there trying to be the big man. He's just up there being Jake Clemens. He has a very distinct and a very definite and individual sort of charisma, and it's really kind of a wonder to watch.